It is not inflation or politics that controls the global financial system. It is something much bigger. And unfortunately, the information I'm going to share with you is darker than even I thought possible. And because the information I'm going to share with you is so contested, I will only give information that comes from the most reliable sources. So welcome to the Gleek channel, and buckle up because this video will be a long one and you won't want to miss a second. Across the globe and in the USA, there are key players that manage our money. You would think they would be central banks, investment banks, and commercial banks. What if I told you that these key players are actually one group, and it's been this way for over 300 years? So, who is this mysterious group? Well, it's actually a family, the Rothschild family. And keep in mind, the Rothschild family has been at the center of conspiracy theories for decades. And by the end of this video, you'll look at our financial system in a totally new way. Surprisingly, everything started with one man, Mayer Rothschild. He grew up very poor, with 10 people living in his small house. Because of this, he grew up with ambition. He was selling rare coins to royalty at 13 years old, and this is where Rothschild's name grew. Soon he became very wealthy, managing finances for the richest people in Germany. But this wasn't enough. See this? This is the insignia for the Rothschild company today. The 5 arrows stand for the 5 Rothschild sons. Mayer sent his 5 sons to the 5 wealthiest countries in the world. He wanted to build an empire. And this is where things get dark. It is undisputed that the Rothschild funded the Napoleonic War. And not just the French side, they funded both sides. They directly profited from the death and violence. And unfortunately, this was not all. After the war, they would then swoop in to buy the debt of the struggling economies, further securing their power. It was at around this time that the Rothschild family controlled half of the world's wealth. But here is something critical to know. Just because they controlled the wealth, it does not mean it was theirs. Nathan Rothschild once referred to the king as his puppet, saying, "Whoever controls the credit makes the laws." This is according to an account discovered in Verdermain's personal journal. But the story takes a turn, bringing us to where we are today. Suddenly, the American colony said they didn't want to pay British taxes, and this is where the Rothschilds got even more blood on their hands. They wanted to use this opportunity to cement their control in the changing world order. They would help fund the American experiment, but only in exchange for shares of the new central bank. After a few years, America said no, and this is where the Rothschilds showed their true colors. Before the War of 1812, Nathan Rothschild was quoted saying, "Either the application for the renewal of the charter is granted, or the United States will find itself involved in a most disastrous war. Teach these impudent Americans a lesson. Bring them back to colonial status." Then, soon after the War of 1812 started, and guess who funded both sides? That is right, the Rothschild family. They even got their shares in the central bank just like they wanted, including helping in the creation of our first banks like JP Morgan. And to this day, they have huge influence over individuals and corporations. And because they were so secretive, nobody knows the true value of their wealth, though estimates say they have control over 1 trillion in assets. This is key information to know in order to understand the biggest players that influence our global economy. So make sure to follow Gleek for more, and definitely check out our privacy-focused crypto ecosystem linked in our bio.